Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 16th day, of June. It's Friday, and got Carlos Bad New Yorker Chavez backstage. Going to be a great show. John Morant, we've got his Friday news dump. I told you, did I call it or did I call it? Friday news dump. John Morant will be suspended 25 games. Very fair, if you ask me. Got that. We're going to talk about Michael Jordan, and the sale is supposed to be in play now. He is technically going to make about $3 billion. Going to talk about that, finals breakdown, and more. We'll go ahead and get our first and only break out of the way and be back here in 49 seconds here on Sports Scope and hit the ground running. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Oops. Hey, Carlos.
Yo, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Hey, man, happy Father's Day in case I forget later on this day.
Yeah, man. 2 times over, right?
That's right. Hey, listen, let's start with the breaking news that started today. I mentioned this yesterday on the program. I said, if I'm right here, I think it's Friday, holiday weekend. The
NBA closes down.
It's going to be a Friday news dump. Mark my word. They're going to hand this speech out. They're going to hand the suspension out on Friday. I think 25 is more than reasonable. It's 3 times what the first one was for John Morant's suspension. What's your thoughts on the John Morant suspension?
I mean, he was going to get suspended no matter what. I think he's still going to fight this. It shouldn't be more than 10 games, to be honest with you.
Wow.
He didn't, he needs to be on the court, man. And the NBA knows this too. So they can't lose out on that, So, it's one of those things that unfortunately that he has to go through and he has to, take care of his consequence. But I'm sure if he fights it, they might make it less. So, but
yeah,
the
players association did not like that. No.
So, I mean, he flashed a gun on the internet. If it was real or not real, then it doesn't matter. He didn't shoot anybody. First of all, second of all, there were other players in other leagues that have done worse. A player in his own league took an actual weapon to a locker room back in the day.
Yes.
So, a player shot himself in the nightclub, before a playoff game. Come on, things have been, athletes have done things, back with weapons and not being responsible with them. The NBA is not a policing organization, so they shouldn't have to be, trying to figure that out. If it's something that was legal or illegal, then that's something a consequence of the player is going to get outside of the actual organization of a basketball league. So he needs to be on the court at the end of the day for Memphis, for himself, and for NBA fans. If you honestly don't want him to be on the court and you don't like him, then that's a personal issue, I think. So.
Okay. Yeah. I know that you sound like what the players associate. Jason Whitlock, he said Adam Silver is the cool parent who lets the teenagers drink beer and smoke weed. Silver is softer than baby poop. So he thinks it's too light. You're saying it's too harsh. After thinking about what you're saying, and I actually was hoping that I was thinking maybe they would probably do 40 games or half the season. But the truth of the matter, it wasn't illegal. But like Adam Silver says, there are little kids that look up to you, and you are on a big platform. Like technically, Colin Cowherd said, it's not illegal for a woman to have an OnlyFans or account or whatever. But if you're a school teacher, it doesn't look good. It simply doesn't. $50 million. Remember, he was already suspended just a few weeks prior to that. So
10 weeks. Yeah. 10 weeks. Okay, look, Robert, at the end of the day, it's like we want to get the consequences right for people.
Yeah.
Like through the media. For what reason? It's not our job. We're supposed to just report, and we're supposed to just, keep people informed. To be judgmental like that, to try to have that thumb over somebody's career, I mean, they already have enough to deal with. We have to understand these guys are becoming men, and they have a lot of money. They have a lot of responsibility to themselves, to the family. Now they have a responsibility to their brand and their image. So at the end of the day, what is the consequence for? Because if you and I brandish a gun on Twitter, who's gonna tell us that we can't be on?
We don't
Twitter?
play for the NBA though, nor the NFL.
It doesn't matter. But we are part of now considered media, and you don't know how many kids are watching us.
Well, this is my show. I mean, if I work,
every single person watching you right now.
If I work for a company and I'm showing guns and representing like these rappers, a lot of them are independent contractors, Yeah. So it's part of their own brand. Now I think it's good to say, listen, man, this is the rules, just like NFL gambling. Like Jim Jeffcoat said, it's rolling on every wall. It's like if you're dumb enough to do that, that's a you problem, So I get it. I actually, you know what? I'm actually okay with Adam Silver this time. I think he made the right choice.
Yeah, and he, to be honest with you, he made it to where it was low enough that even if he fought it and it became 10 or 12 games or even 15 games, at the end of the suspension deal was already done. He doesn't have to go back on his word and be like, I gave him 25 and it was going to be, because if he would have gave him 40 or 60 or even 80, this would have been gone into litigation, and NBA would look terrible, Yeah. So he did right by setting the bar just about right. If Ja Morant doesn't want to play for 25 games, he has that choice. If he wants to fight that, he has that choice. And it's a decent choice considering the situation.
Well, I think Ja Morant is still trying to grow up and Brian Windhorst of ESPN said he's going to lose since all this came about, he's going to lose about $50 million. I used to work in real estate. 50 million. I mean, you know what you get with 50 million? You could get a really nice apartment complex.
Hire New York, you get half of that.
Yeah, well, in New York, but here in Nashville, you can get a pretty nice apartment complex. I don't know, 80, 100 units, and you could get a management company, and they just do a whole thing for you.
Right.
They get the whole thing for you. But this goes to, I think these things go to what, like a charity or something? Is that what happens?
It gets wrapped into different funnels, so that way the organizations that and the NBA helps promote during the season always have something coming in. So no, but Pickles is right. In that comment, like I have a feeling, and I keep saying this, that if and when he comes back, he won't be on Memphis that long.
That's a good transition.
Yep. So,
do you think they'll trade him? And would you trade him?
I mean, he's in the Bible belt buckle of the United States,
Memphis, somewhat.
And if I were in Memphis, I'm not saying they all go to church every Sunday, but I'm not saying that they're not. You know what I'm saying? Right. So and that's a different demographic there. So that's one way. If he wants to get out of Tennessee, out of Memphis, that's one way to do it. And ownership over there. Come on, man. Bite the bullet. Either get rid of him or stay with him. But if you're going to stay with him, you got to support him, and you got to change the perspective that the media is giving him. Like the team has to do that, right? The team, the players on the team, they have to do it. They be like, this is my guy. I'm sticking with him. He's taking courses. He's getting his health check. He's getting some mental health check. Like it has to be a push on that direction if you're gonna keep him. If you're not, cut your ties with him now. Be like, listen, the moment he's available to play, he's on the trading block because we don't want this on our team. We don't want this representing the Grizzlies. As simple as that. So don't make it difficult.
Would you trade Ja to a Miami team, for example?
This is what I would do if I'm.
Go ahead.
If I'm the Grizzlies, I'd be like, I'll go to Mark Cuban and be like, what else do you want for Doncic? What else do you want for Luka?
He's gonna be like, no, man.
I'll give you John Morant and whoever else you want for Luka, and a couple draft picks.
Well, they do got a pretty deep team, Memphis. They got a pretty deep team.
The only problem with Luka is Luka can't. He got rid of 2 guards. He played with 2 top 10 guards in the NBA, and he can't deal. He's got to be the man with the ball in his hand. So what are you going to do in Dallas? You going to get another guard? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Either you build a team with Luka being the man pushing the ball, or you get rid of him and get something for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
you're saying Dallas. You think Dallas would come to your mind?
I mean, that's where the money's. That's the biggest puzzle piece to move is Luka, right?
Okay.
Where else could he go? And what else team has?
I would like to team him up with Jimmy Butler, put him in that strict Miami environment. He comes to, Ja Morant, I don't think he's a terrible guy. I think he's a little misguided.
Right.
He comes off as a guy who seems like he's receptive to do the right thing. He went to college 2 years.
Right.
He's worked with his dad. His dad's a little immature for a 47-year-old. I'll give you that. But he does seem receptive, and he does seem apologetic. He can't get out of his own way. He doesn't come off as combative, is what I'm trying to say.
I would go to like a Celtics, or I would stay away from Miami because Miami has Pat Riley. He has the coach there.
Everyone says away from family. Wouldn't you guys like to see him with the strict environment that can help?
Because that's not Ja. Ja doesn't play in a box. He's not going to play zone. That's not Ja. Don't put Ja in a situation.
You're underestimating him. How do you know he's not able to do
because he like I said, he two premium point guards. He's played. Luka's played.
Corey thinks that's a good deal, man.
Nah, the problem there.
I'm trying to send him to boot camp, and you want him to go back to the toy store.
He don't have. I'm trying to send him to the candy store where everything looks good and everything tastes better. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't need to go somewhere. That culture there in Miami will be overwhelming for him, and if he don't get his stats, he's gonna be hurting. He's gonna be hurting because Jimmy Butler is he's peaked. He's kind of peaking, and his attitude in the last 2 games has changed tremendously. And just because the coach Spoelstra is asking a lot from him for what they're doing, where he wasn't asked to do all those things before they got to the playoffs.
Okay.
Right. So you have to understand the methodology of some of these basketball coaches. Like I'm not saying that John Morant is not a team player. I'm just saying don't put him in a situation and box him in. Right. Because that's what Butler was dealing with when he was on the Timberwolves, when he was in Chicago. He was boxed in and he had to play in a system. And you can see that Butler is as much as he's a team player. But he's
flourishing in Miami, though.
I'm sorry.
You kind of help him making my point.
Say what?
You're making my point. He's flourishing in Miami. They just got out of the finals.
Yeah, but Butler didn't do that well, man.
Well,
in fact, Bam Adebayo played better than
I agree with Corey. Hero, maybe a Robertson, maybe 3 picks, and spread those picks out, and none of them are protected. That's just me.
Yeah, I'd rather see him go to the Celtics and play with like Tatum. If Brown's not going to be there, just go ahead and like give him somebody else that has that speed and talent.
Well, that's a true point guard. I mean, that's food for thought, man.
Like I would rather, and that would make the Boston team a little bit more. I give him more like it'll give him strength, as far as attacking the basket. Because the thing that Tatum does is he'll attack the basket, but then he'll go back and they'll start shooting threes again. So
yeah, Chad's right. I mean, you got to
I got a
come
problem.
hard at Mark Cuban if you want to get Luka.
You know
You got
what?
to bring Tatum, Corey. Corey don't want that, but you got to bring Tatum.
If Mark Cuban was a GM, but the GM over there, I would start to try to pick the pockets of Sacramento. Luka would do good.
They got
on a
some
team like
talent
Sacramento.
up there in Sacramento.
Yeah, but I mean, Luka's that's a cause for another day, man. We could talk about him.
Oh, I love shipping Luka all over the place, man. Hey, there was another big story today. It looks like Michael Jordan is going to sell this team. It looks like there's a deal finalized. Going to make about $3 billion, more money than he made from the Jordan Brand fund, I'm reading. Let me ask you this, Carlos, and here's my opinion. I think he's distracted. He was never as motivated as the owner as he was as a player. And I just think that he's distracted with other things. I'm really surprised that he's not as competitive as an owner. What's your thoughts about Michael Jordan selling the Hornets, man?
I think when you talk about competitiveness and being edgy, you are in a situation to win, right? Kind of like Boston's in a situation to win. Miami put themselves in this with you. But if you got to start from scratch, it's very difficult to put yourself and be mentally like hard on edge for winning. Right, you're surrounded by if you're the best player or were the best player, and you're surrounded by guys who don't know how to get to your level or to ever meet you at your level. That is a hard ship to drive, bro. No matter how
You're
much
saying he just don't have the patience.
Yeah, he don't got and he had the drive and here like the situation that he's in, like he did have that team go to a playoffs at least twice in his tenure in 13 years. So it's not that he didn't try.
I got some really good stats I wanted to. Hey, by the way, Fridays, the audiences, you guys like Mad New Yorker and me because you tell me that on the YouTube view. So I want to thank everybody for that. But I had some stuff
appreciate
here.
The comments. No, but like, and here's another thing too. And I'm gonna throw this out there as an idea. J. Cole's part of this deal. J. Cole played basketball for he tried to get into the NBA. He's done his thing in the music biz, and I think maybe Jordan's throwing a bone out there and trying to help people, become minority owners in the NBA. So I'm not saying that he's doing it just for that because the money.
I think he's cashing out.
But you got musicians who are wanting to also be owners, and I think Jordan's giving them that opportunity. Like Eric Church is involved in this group. Like there's a few people that are they got some clout, but they also want to do other things. And if you're somebody who's a seller and you see the opportunity out there and you see that the opportunity is great and he's a self-made man, you can stamp his name without the flight, without the image, and everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. So he don't have to worry about anything else anymore. He's set. So, I feel like too, like I'm not gonna say I met J. Cole personally, but I've talked to his team before when he was when I was working at the airport and he was going on a Europe trip and everything.
Okay.
And
where's he from originally?
I don't know where J. Cole's from, but I'm gonna say this.
Detroit.
I was fighting a security guard, and J. Cole hits the gym and plays basketball pretty regularly. So and he's
I've
been
heard that too, actually.
Games.
Yeah.
So he has the heart for the game. He likes the game. He has passion for the game. So if you can get ownership, at least get people that like the game, that love the game. And this is an opportunity for like another minority leader who's a minority, in the NBA, in the scheme of things. And you need that, man. You need to be represented on all shades, colors, and
Jordan, I think he made like 5 times what he paid. Listen to these stats. This is from Barstool Sports. This is 13 seasons as the owner. It says 0 finals appearances, 0 conference final appearances, 0 semifinals appearances, 0 first round series won. I'm like you. I thought he won a series. And they drafted Kemba Walker, and the Barstool said not clutch. I wasn't that mad at Kemba Walker. I like Kemba Walker, but
that deal was just too big for him. Nah, he was he came out of college and he had his championship win and everything, but that deal was just too big for him. And sometimes it is what it is, right? Like these players can't sometimes get to where they're the potential is set for them. And when you put a price tag on it, that's worse, because then people, they see a price and you don't feel like you're getting, like I just said, Butler wasn't playing what he was paid, but and I also mentioned that Bam got Miami got their money's worth from him from the extension.
Oh yeah.
Right? So we always kind of like, we just try to put a price tag on everything that a player does, and it's a tough deal, but that's part of the gig. And and even Jordan. Here's the thing about Michael Jordan. Jordan is you cannot put him in a box. He's not Dolan from the New York area where he's made money and all he does is sports and he's got this whole. That's not him. Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. You saw even when he was a basketball player, he was out gambling in casinos or playing
golf, gambling, casinos.
And he knows his limits and his limitations, and he knows what he wants to do to push that. So I give him credit because, listen, when he was in the league for 6 years, he was chomping on the bit like, I'm going to dip on Chicago. But Chicago got him a coach. The coach and the GM got him players, and the rest was history.
Right.
Chicago needs to understand he had, 1 foot out the door and the shoelaces from the other one getting ready to go. It wasn't something that just happened by happenstance that he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay in Chicago because I love Chicago. He was ready to go. In fact, they had the Knicks calling him, they had the Lakers calling him. A lot of teams were calling him.
Yeah, you would just wonder what his brand would have been if he would have played with you and under Pat Riley.
I don't know.
I mean, they still would have won championships, I think.
It would have been maybe like seeing Houston Rockets and Olajuwon having players to play with him. Like something that maybe even better because it's Michael Jordan, right? So,
right.
Yeah,
it would have been crazy good if he would have went to the Knicks. He would have really, his legend would have been.
We don't dream, man. We try to be real, man. We don't dream like that. We don't like Jordan. We don't like Kobe. We don't like LeBron. They didn't want to be here, so I'm trying to be nice about it.
Cut Chad says Kobe stigmatized the Hornets by not accepting to be drafted by them.
No, so
I think that Jerry West pushed that, Chad, because he mentioned that in his book. To get Kobe from the Hornets in a trade.
I will say this because we've been in states that didn't have sports like that, but the college sport. Like the fanatics in college sports basketball and in the Carolinas expecting to win championships as an NBA team, the expectations were so high and they haven't gone there yet. So that's a tough gig, man. Those are tough fans. They know basketball. They understand basketball. So have one losing season is already a depression mode. This man has gone through 13 losing seasons. You got to understand he's a championship caliber mindset. It doesn't matter what he says at the end of it, is the players got to play on the court. He's not on the court with them. So if you're not getting to win and you're a winner, you're eventually going to say, I'll cut my losses. No matter who you are, you will cut your losses. If you're all about winning and you trying to surround yourself with winners, that's why he got Kemba Walker, because Kemba Walker came from a winning school.
Yeah, he won with Connecticut. And as soon as Barkley criticized him, he stopped talking to Jordan.
Because you got paid and you didn't play to win a championship. You just played. And, you mentioned the comments of some of these players that look at other players and say, more than half of the guys in the league aren't playing to win. They just playing.
Patrick Beverly said that.
Yeah, Patrick Beverly said. So, I mean, and this is Charlotte. This team has been losing so much. They're expected to get at drafts the next season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can't fault a guy like Michael Jordan who won so many titles with one team.
Yeah.
But he did it in the 13 years that he did, he couldn't replicate as a GM what's going on in Charlotte. And that's a hard gig anyways, man, to be an owner and expect to win.
Right. Right.
Look, we're seeing one owner who has 5 different teams in 5 different leagues win championships. But you know what this guy's image is among ownership in those leagues? You know, Stan Kroenke, he ain't like lovable like Michael Jordan. He ain't a brand like Michael Jordan. A lot of people
a patient guy, though.
He don't want a lot of guys don't want to.
He held on to Malone for a minute with Denver.
Yeah,
you know he's on a roll too. That guy.
He's on the roll, but again, he might be buddy with people that he's personal with. But if you put him in a group, a lot of people kind of turn away from him because of his expectation. And
I read on him, and he's a shy person.
Because you know what I'm saying. So you know, and what I'm saying is I'm not speaking bad of Kroenke, okay, but he put his money where his mouth is, and he will cut you ties. He cut ties with you if he doesn't feel like he's getting a return on investment.
That could be what it is. That's a good transition. Now, Zion Williamson is rumored to potentially be traded to that Charlotte Hornets team for that 2 pick. This Scott Henderson, this guy's stock keeps going up. This point guard from the Ignite Elite or whatever. That's that semi-pro league.
Right.
What are you thinking about possibly? Now, there's some issues with him. I don't know if you've been watching my program or not, but Zion, he had a weight clause in his last contract because his weight keeps getting out of control. He had the porn star girlfriend and all that stuff. And there was reports that he don't have any kind of association with his teammates there. He's kind of isolated. Would you give up on him, or would you potentially move on from him if you're New Orleans?
Well, the way you sound, it sounds like he gave up on himself. He just want to spend money, right? That's what.
That's what I think. Like Ja Morant, I think a change of scenery. Some guys just need a change of scenery. You know, I talked about. I know this is kind of a polar case, I guess, or kind of a. But the Chris Carter thing was pretty bad in Philadelphia in 1990.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And then when he moved on to Minnesota, he became a Hall of Famer. So it may be great for Zion.
But you know what happened in Minnesota that was different than Philadelphia? Was that ownership was like the owner and the ownership and the coaches were Danny Green was there. That's the difference. He says it, but he mentioned it like Danny Green put him on the spot. He said, "We're paying for him, expect him to do big things." And as soon as Chris Carter saw that, his eyes got big like, oh damn! Like, why are you picking on me?
I got to put down this alcohol. You know?
Yeah, and then he helped him get cleaned up. He helped him get his feet back on the ground and get situated. And like not all teams have that, man. And it's not like all teams need that, but sometimes some players need that. So sometimes we forget, man. We're all human, man. We're all we're all one step of cracking.
Here's my thing. I just complimented Denver and Michael Malone, and I'm gonna get your take on the finals here in a minute, for being patient with Joker, Stan Kroenke, Jamal Murray. He was hugging Stan Kroenke. He was out 500 days with the ACL. He had some injuries there, and I think if you're seeing that a player's working hard, but the game is not coming together to the level you want, I think I'm gonna be patient. But if you're seeing him out here acting a fool, weight problems, having 2 or 3 stripper girlfriends and moms, he's on TMZ all the time. Then I may be more, more in mind of just maybe moving him on for his benefit, as well as mine.
Look, I don't think New York is the best place to move, but I would give Randall in a minute for this guy, for Zion.
He needs a boot camp with Coach Tibbs. That would be good for
Zion. No, I don't. I'm not saying it because of Tibbs. I say it because he's played with Barrett. He knows Barrett. They know each other. They were college buddies.
Oh, they went to Duke together, didn't they?
Yeah, and they can feed off each other, and and they can start. Look, you in New York, you starve because everything's expensive, man. So.
Well, those fans will give him a bunch of crap if he gets fat and out of shape.
There you go.
You guys will boo him like nobody's business down there.
So I don't know if it'd be a great move, but if we're giving up Randall, I'll do it in a heartbeat because like I already know who
Well, you have to
Randall
probably
is.
get more than Randall, maybe some picks too. And you've got a lot of picks.
You don't want to go too much there because they have a good young team. So, but to get back to your point to what was happening in Denver with the patients, like,
Yeah.
you know, everybody's saying the same things that nobody's listening, and the perception is all jaded because people want to win championships, and you're paying for a ticket, and you're paying a lot of money, and the jerseys are expensive nowadays. It takes
Yes, they
time,
are.
people, man. It takes time. Like, and Joker, 7 years, he said, even when I was the best and I failed, you know, I had to fail to get better. Like, think about what he's saying. Like,
Yeah.
and Jamal Murray he never felt days darker than when he was trying to come back from rehab.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to be on the court. Like, these are real situations, man. These are real things that happen with players all over the league, even in college basketball, and not everybody can win all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. And you're winning if you're out there competing and trying to get to the final destination, like trying to get that trophy. And I guess we should support that, right? That's why Denver had a good team. And Kroenke did was he supported those two guys with players that were high-end players in the beginning of their careers. They just kind of fell off the track, and he surrounded Mike Malone with guys who know how to win and how to get better. They just were in bad places at the wrong time, you know.
But
so,
Aaron Gordon looked kind of like a bust.
Yeah, Porter Jr.
He has a great role with Denver. I mean, I think I would try to extend him. So what are your thoughts on the finals? They finally won the championship since the last time I talked to you. Remember, Monday was the championship game. What's your thoughts on this finals win in general, man?
I was scared when I texted you and Keith.
Well, it was a close game.
Yeah, like Denver was like, you know, they were up, and then all of a sudden they made a 10-0 run, and I'm like, oh man, I spoke too soon. They almost gave away the game, but the role players came through. Brown came through, and Porter Jr. Gordon was attacking the back. I told you, right? We said on the show, Miami's dogging. They're out there playing defense, but that height differential is gonna make you tired.
Oh,
you can
man,
only do so much. So
you got to work harder. I'm a shorter guy. I understand. I play a lot of basketball.
So the edge was always with Denver, even before the playoffs, because they were the better team. But even with those guys, just physically, they were going to have a problem. Then, if those guys catch fire, shooting the ball, or even attacking the basket, they were going to have a problem. And Miami just didn't have enough. They didn't have enough bullets in that gun, man. They were looking back and they were running out of bullets. But Spoelstra, credit to him, he literally coached them up maybe 2 or 3 games.
Yes.
Right?
Man, he's a well of a coach, man. Do you think this team here? You know my take on it. I think that they can run it back a few years.
Well, the
Denver. Because of the age, they're all under 30 years old.
Yeah, the only problem in Denver, it's going to happen after next season, is those extensions and those re-up on the contracts. And because they all those guys won a championship, they're going to demand more money. You know, you like, that's why you like those players like KCP, who are like towards the end of their career. He already had one championship, now he got another one. That's why those guys take, you know, they get really, $1 million, $2 million contract.
They're locked up for a few years.
Yeah, but
I don't think they're going to hold out next year. Maybe the year after next.
Yeah, and again, we're talking like this. You and I are talking now like this is something simple, just on a contract. But if there's an NBA lockout, all that goes. Well,
I think they just redone a new deal, didn't they? Yeah, they redone a new deal.
Yeah, but you can deal all day, but the owners can always, you know what I'm saying? They can always want something different, and the players can want something different.
They're doing well, man. But you're thinking, so you don't think they can win another championship, maybe 2?
I do. If people are comparing them to the Bucks, I'll do you one better, and I'll say they'll get to a playoff, but they ain't gonna win another championship.
I think they're kind of closer to maybe the Warriors, man.
Then the problem is they already on that. They're about that 4th or 5th year for some of the other players, not Joker, but they're on the 4th or 5th year. So the thing with Golden State was they came in together they came in close, like 2 or 3 years apart, and the threesome was closer in age.
Okay.
So that's the difference. What happened in Milwaukee was they got all these guys, but most of them were peaking or past their prime.
Yeah. Yeah, Brook Lopez is way past it. He's like 36.
And they look old and slower now because Giannis wasn't there to pick up the pieces, right? Because of his injury. So, the Nuggets are not old by all means.
No.
They can sneak in. I think maybe one more playoff run, but you have to understand they had played a West Coast conference that was very competitive, and all the teams got better playing each other.
Yeah.
Right. And it came to the end because it's such a long season that the top players like Phoenix, Dallas, they all just started tumbling down.
Yeah.
So,
well, I predicted. I told you. I said that those guys were older. Phoenix had a 34-year-old guy and a 37-year-old guy we had a 35-year-old league guy with Golden State. Yeah. And the Lakers, LeBron's 38, and you're playing with Anthony Davis, who's potentially can get injured at any time. With the thrown together, what do you call it? Role players.
Yeah,
they put all those guys mainly together at the trade deadline, other than maybe Austin Rivers. So it's,
right. And
Yeah,
another thing too is like we're not mentioning the teams that have been most competitive in the last 3 seasons, and that's Memphis, Sacramento, and they're young, so they can get back up, and maybe even if they play Denver, can be competitive.
Now, that could be a Western Conference final next year.
Yeah,
that would be really good. That make it be a 6 or 7 game.
You see Phoenix on the down because they traded all their potential and they wanted to win yesterday. And you see the Lakers don't know what they're going to get, whether LeBron comes back or not. And you say they're older. The Clippers are the Clippers.
Very injury prone.
Right. So so it's in Dallas.
Yeah.
They're not. They're kind of like the Bucks, right? They got a Giannis, but they don't know anybody to surround. Who's going to surround Luka? So San Antonio's going to be on the up. They're going to have maybe one of the second youngest teams coming out.
Oh yeah, it'd probably be 3 more years.
Yeah, so
and I was right about that too. How about that? 74-year-old Greg Popovich, he re-upped for 3 years now.
Because he knows Wembanyama. He knows not just Wembanyama. He knows the talent he has, and he knows that one player is probably going to push the cream to the top.
Oh yeah, 74 years old. Hey, what do you think about all this Bradley Beal trade talk? Who would be a better fit for Miami? Would it be Beal or Lillard, in your opinion?
I think both of those guys should try to go to another team that's closer to winning a championship. Other than
you don't think Miami's that close?
No, because you have the situation.
Think this was a fluke?
No, it's not a fluke. They just played. They overplayed their roster.
They played over their head.
Yeah, they did. And if you add one of those two guys to an HC team, they're going to be the same in the 5, maybe move up to a 5 seed, and they're going to be in the same situation out the door the next year. Lillard is peaking, and you can tell because he's now the last 3 seasons those injuries have crept up, and he takes him longer to get back.
Okay.
So and Bill had his chance to go to a championship team, and he ended up staying. I don't know why. I think he thought that he was going to be playing in some kind of playoff, and he should have just left. But, we can't talk for those guys, right? And money talks at the end of the day. So,
well, they're both on the. I know Bill's definitely on the block. I think Lillard would leave at a drop of a dime. I actually said a lot of people don't agree, but I actually think Lillard would be the better fit. Even though he's 33.
Yeah, man.
No. He actually played more. Bill's been hurt the last few years. 40 and 50 games he's played.
Yeah, so.
But he's 30 years old. He's a few years younger than Lillard, obviously.
How about this? Maybe you can find one of those two guys going to Milwaukee.
Well, Milwaukee needs another player, definitely.
Right. So at least one of those guys, one of those caliber guys, to help Giannis, spread the wealth there. But if I'm one of those teams that are young, I wouldn't go backwards. Like if I'm the Knicks, I'm like, Don't think about Lillard. Don't think about Beal. Just you got some fresh feet on the ground. You only need 1 or 2 players. You need to get rid of 5 players. So like, don't look that way, man. I'm not an ageism guy, but you can't just be putting money somewhere.
I still think a Trae Young. I think a Trae Young could fit in up there in New York, and I think maybe Dillon Brooks.
The roster in New York is guard heavy. If Trae Young goes anywhere, you know where he would fit? That's the guy you get in Miami. He's got brand, he's got game, and he's got a jersey that kind of looks like a Miami Heat jersey already. So kick him over there.
Well, they need that guard play. They definitely need the guard, and they need another big. I think they should go after Vukovic. Who could potentially, he's a restricted free agent from Chicago.
Yeah,
and make the Bill trade. Not Bill, but Lillard trade, and then that should put them over the top to potentially win the whole thing and get a better seeding. You don't need to be an 8 seed.
Well, you can't help it in that conference. They're in the Eastern Conference, man. They weren't playing stiffs, man. I mean, and this year, those teams gave them a fight. The Boston's gave them a fight. New York gave them a fight. So.
Yeah, so it's all food for thought. There's probably going to be some trades done. We'll probably get some by the draft, which is next Thursday.
You doing a draft show?
Yeah, no. I'll do a regular show. I mean, the NBA draft.
Let's do a draft show on Wednesday night.
Well, I mean, I could talk about it, but it's not like the NFL because we're waiting 4 years for some of these guys, man. NFL, we got guys, running backs. They're going to fit that Bijan Robertson with Atlanta. He's going to fit in immediately
if you
down there in Atlanta.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the problem.
Wembanyama's not going to do nothing for about 2 years, but I'm going to watch him because he's supposed to be a general. I think he's the real deal. We'll see if he stays healthy. But
that's the problem right there with the running backs, right?
Well, no, I was talking about Wembanyama with basketball. Bijan Robertson, he's going to be a hit right off the bat with the Atlanta Falcons. Those running backs really, but I was just using that for example. I mean, I'm not going to do a draft show. I mean, come on. I barely meant it's not like it's just not as powerful as the NFL. I'm just saying this particular Wembanyama guy he does look like he's all that. He's really quick for a guy that's that much over 7 foot. He shoots the 3 ball. He's got long arms. He blocks people. He carries the ball. He plays semi-pro.
Yeah,
comes from France, like Tony Parker, former Spur.
Yeah, so no, I mean it's just going to be good for him to go somewhere like a Spurs team because you know they're going to get some kind of development and some kind of there. If he would go to another team, you're like, no, you're just kind of, it's like a Zion thing. Is he going to be good? Is he not going to be good? I don't know.
Well, he's not as big. Zion's just heavy. It's just a big, heavy bone structure.
Come on, man. We were all excited about Zion.
I was a John Morant guy way over Zion.
I'm telling you, man.
Our program. I used to get that notification on Periscope, but I can't see it now. Yeah, he got a little ticked off that I said I would pick Ja over him. Of course, I was right. I mean, Ja's got some maturity issues, but right now he's been a more productive basketball player.
I'm not a big fan of Duke, but man, when I saw that kid play and they was just manhandling people, I'm like, I was thinking, Charles Barkley.
He has a very heavy bone structure and a lot of torque is what I hear about.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Zion. He also has a thing for fans only chicks and strippers, and he does not need to go to Houston and hang out with James Harden, who's rumored to go back to Houston. That'll be a mess, wouldn't it? Him and Amy at the strip club together.
Oh my goodness,
with Zion.
I don't know, but I feel like maybe Harden could have done a little better for himself, but he's getting paid, so
yeah. Who knows? Let's see. What else did we have here out on the horizon? I've been talking a lot about, Saquon Barkley.
Oh.
He's saying that he could potentially. There's a report that he could potentially hold out the whole season.
Just go to Chicago, man. Make yourself happy.
That's what I'm saying. I think they should trade him Chicago, and I think they should draft Dalvin Cook. What's your take on Barkley? Did you hear my take the other day that He's simply overrated. Nick Chubb was in the same class as
I
Saquon.
mean,
I know New York people get so offended by that.
No, I'm not offended. By all means, I'm not offended. I expect a lot from Barkley because we all, everybody does. That's a huge contract. That's not like pennies on the dollar, man. That's Bitcoin
He wants
on the
17.
dollar.
He wants up there with Derrick Henry money.
Yeah, man. And so, like, you want that kind of money, you got to play. And he's played it from returning from his injury. Played it so well that he made his quarterback look like a superstar. So the problem is he made his quarterback look like a superstar. His quarterback got all the money. He didn't. So he messed up. But as much as he's messed up getting all that money, I'm not sure that that contract will be something that other teams will like to sign him for. I'm not going to say he's asking for too much, but I think for what his career has been, he needs to be careful. And just because he wants to stay in New York, don't put yourself, don't sit out. Because the last thing you want is to go back after sitting out and be like Bell. Right?
Yeah, I was going to say that. You're in New York. I mean, what a disaster Le'Veon Bell was, man.
It's already a disaster. Football's been a disaster for the last 5 years. Or either team. So
yeah.
You guys, I mean, people like the whole Bills connection here in New York, the Giants, they like that. That's fine for them, but not for me. That's not my cup of tea.
So do you think he's worth the money? What do you do if you're New York?
Look, the
if
only
you're
reason
the general manager,
I would definitely look to move him because you can probably get pieces to put around your quarterback, so, and then because your defense needs a few guys too, so I would move him for sure. Because what do you say? You can find a quarterback every other day, right?
Well, I think you can find you've got Cook out there. You got Zeke Elliott.
Yeah, but no. I'm talking about running backs. I'm not talking about those type of running backs. All those guys want big money, right? I'm not talking about getting one of those guys because you're only going to pay them for what they did. You're not going to pay them for what they're doing.
Well, I think Cook's not going to get $10 million. He thinks he's going to get $10 million. And he's going to be thinking a long time. I would offer him something less than Barkley for maybe 2 years. That's an option for me if I'm the Giants. I mean,
here's a problem.
Barkley's he's just oversold himself, man. I mean, dude, he missed.
He wants.
He's not even the best running back in his class.
He wants McCaffrey money, man.
Yeah,
and that was the biggest problem is when he said that.
Yeah, he's not McCaffrey. That's the problem. And McCaffrey turned out to be he turned out to be bad for the Panthers. They paid him too much.
I mean, well, my take on the NFL is that it needs to improve anyway. So these guys wanting all this cash and there ain't enough teams that are going to bite. That's a mess in its own. So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I would definitely like
I would move Saquon because the money's not right there, right? You don't feel comfortable. You haven't signed him yet. You don't think you're going to win a championship because if you did, you would have signed him anyways. You don't really have 100% backing of your quarterback just because you give him money because you can always cut him.
Yeah,
that's part of his contract. So, you're just playing. You're just playing him right now. So let him go. Right.
And he only played 2 games in 1 year. And down here, Derrick Henry's pretty close to that amount of money. But Henry's only missed 3 or 4 games in his career. So, well, I think the year before last he missed quite a few, but he's been more durable than Saquon. Barkley was the number 2 pick overall. There was great players drafted after him. Nick Chubb was drafted in the 2nd round, 10 yards average more per game. With Baker Mayfield being the quarterback, so it's not a quarterback thing. It's just, Barkley was overrated, man. He's the most overrated player since Reggie Bush back in 2006.
Do you think that Barkley's overrated or that Nick Chubb just doesn't get the respect that he's due?
Barkley's well. You could possibly say both because remember they had Kareem Hunt there sharing carries with Nick Chubb for a little while. Now Kareem Hunt's out looking for a job.
Yeah, because Chubb is a better player. He's more consistent.
Oh shit, Chubb is yeah. See, here's the thing. Chubb was coming back from an injury out of Georgia.
Yeah.
And he's just a tough mother effer.
Yeah.
He came back strong and he takes care of himself. Barkley, he come from a big school. He come in with a lot of hype, like a Reggie Bush, and he never lived really up to it.
I don't
because he's in your big market and people think it's all world.
I think it was he didn't. To be honest with you, he's always been a good kid. I'm not going to put that on him. The former GM said he was a golden jacket winner. Like that wasn't him. That wasn't Barkley saying that. So, but what Barkley did do was got Jay-Z to work that contract. So yeah.
Well, do you? I didn't ask you this before, but did you listen to what I was talking about the other day with Stephon Diggs blowing off practice? He's another guy that I would try to move.
Where does he play?
Go to Dallas.
Where does he play?
Diggs with Buffalo.
Okay, enough said. Moving on. Come on. You always got to bring up that team somehow or another, man.
You just hate the Buffalo Bills, man.
I dislike the fact that people are rating always in the last 3 seasons they've been rating this team.
Well, they're just
a top 10 team, and they're not a top 10 team. The coaches staff. Finally, one of them quit on the team. Was like, my defense is going to look shoddy.
You may have a good point. They may have to move on from their coach. I got a feeling that
I understand
Diggs
you have a
major problem.
Buffalo, you have a great quarterback. He's on Madden now. Kudos to you. Find a running back, an O-line, and score 30 points a game, and I might root for you.
That's true.
Come on now.
Yeah.
I think my own teams that I like, because from my area, and I'm a fan of, I don't support.
Who's that?
Because they're doing what they're doing, and that's the Giants and the Jets.
Oh yeah.
I dislike as a fan what they're doing. Now I have my own opinion of that.
Yeah.
A lot of other fans like what they see, but I don't. Right? I have high expectations. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think? What do you think the Jets are going to do then?
They're not going to do nothing, man. They got the problem.
I'm kind of worried about Rodgers getting another calf injury.
Even if he gets another thumb injury on the opposite hand, and he plays with the cast and the thumbs up all year.
Pickles says McDermott's went. That's true, Pickles, and I think that Diggs is. I was right about Diggs the whole time. You cannot keep these deep receivers too long. You got to get rid of them after 2 years because they can't be on their best behavior too long.
Or the money, their eyes get big because other guys are getting money and they see their contract and they're like,
yeah,
I could squeeze a couple more out of this. So,
here's my idea: trade him. His brother plays with the Cowboys. His brother's a cornerback. Trayvon Diggs. Trade him to Dallas for CeeDee Lamb and give him a future draft pick and send him on his way.
Oof.
Dallas is dumb enough to do it.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb people ain't gonna want to hear that.
I go get CeeDee Lamb and bring him up to Buffalo.
Man. Everybody would rather play in Dallas, even if Dallas stunk, than go up and play in Buffalo.
Allen's a good player, man.
And
he's happy.
And
happy, Diggs.
The reality is this: CeeDee Lamb has just a good opportunity to get into a playoff on the Dallas team than he does as well as Buffalo. So he doesn't win.
Well, he's still on rookie contract. I mean, it's not really his call.
Yeah, and I'm just saying if he could, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no win for him there. It's
just food for thought. They're probably he's going to take that team. He's a cancer. Diggs is. He's going to take that team down. And you're right. I may actually pick Miami. My final pick before the season starts, I may pick Miami to actually win that division.
Yeah, I think that everybody's like the division is going to New York, but I don't, man. I know it's not going to New England, and I know Keith probably.
Well, maybe if they get,
but and I don't feel like the Jets can just pick up and just go berserk, right? Because that's a tough schedule, anyways. And Miami has actually the most and best well-balanced team in that conference right now with offense and defense. who else is missing? The Jaguar? No, not the Jaguar. Who's missing? Buffalo
Uh,
Bills, and then the Bills are the Bills. They're gonna
well,
win
the Bills
games.
might be going the other way because they got a cancer on their team and they really didn't address that running game. So, but I was talking to John Bristano about this. I think the organization felt that McDermott really handled that DeMar Hamlin stuff really well. And they cut him some slack last year. This year, I think he's on a hot seat, man.
And the problem is not him. The problem is his GM not getting him anybody to protect his quarterback.
Well,
he couldn't come up with so many schemes, man. Stop using your running back.
Colin Cowherd said, you brought in 2 defensive linemen and then you re-upped another one. What have you done about your offensive line? They signed a guy in the second round, but why didn't they go after Orlando Brown? I mean, that's stuff like that you have to do. And that's a lot of these defensive-minded head coaches that want to poo-poo the offensive line. And that's why a lot of offensive-minded head coaches have won the last few Super Bowls too. So,
what's this guy? What did this guy make sitting on the bench last year because he was hurt?
Who's that?
What's his name from Alabama who plays on the defensive line?
Oh,
Oh,
Von Miller?
Yeah, what did he make?
Well, he made a lot of money, but he didn't go to Alabama. He went to Texas A&M.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Texas. I'm sorry. He played in.
Yeah. And then he came from
My
Denver
bad,
as a
my bad.
pro. So, you got anything you need to plug, man?
No, man. Everything like right now, I'm good. I'm working on some things and just trying to get everything organized. So, I'm here 8 to 8 every Friday night. Thank you guys for the great comments. Thank you guys for the bad comments. It makes me try to work harder. I remember these people's names. I watch a lot of sports here, man. It's tough to keep everything organized.
Are you catching any Yankee or Mets games this week?
Yeah, so I was there on Wednesday night. I caught
with Verlander?
What?
Was that with Verlander?
Yeah, I caught.
Hey, that was a great game.
The end.
He got the win, didn't he?
Yeah, I got the win, but it was, man, look, because I like New York, right? So it was a struggle for both teams, man. It was just.
How long did Cole pitch? I didn't see all of it.
That was a 5
for the Yankees.
Yeah, 6 innings, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
See, that's what you're hoping for if you're a Met fan. Verlander will rise to the occasion in the big games.
Yeah, they both pitched pretty well the 4 innings. They both were going back and forth. You just saw these guys' bats were struggling. Stanton striking out and Volpe not stepping up, and then you do the same thing for the Mets. Like McNeil struggling, hits aren't coming through. So luckily at the end of the game, Nimmo came through, and you're kind of glad that he got a contract. Like you got him on a contract. But he's made mistakes in the last few games and errors. But what I like about a player like Nimmo is that he doesn't just sit on that mistake. He doesn't get all unhappy. He keeps playing ball, and you got to have that mentality. You got to keep going, man.
Your son enjoy it? That was.
Oh no, I didn't go with my son in this game. I went with my cousin. It was his birthday, his 50th birthday. So
wow! I bet he was hyped, man. Is he a Mets fan?
No, he's a Yankees fan.
Oh God!
That's all good. Look, like when I go to games with him, whether Yankees or Mets, we got my respect. He knows I like baseball, so he doesn't care to say things to me, and I'm like. Well,
so he has a Yankee hat on. You have the Met. Y'all sit beside each other.
No, I didn't have it. I didn't have it. I went neutral. I went with a different hat. I was like, because I was.
You went with Switzerland.
Well, here's a problem. It was gonna rain.
Yeah.
They had a rain delay, so I was in between coming back from a job, and I was like, nah, I'll just go regular because I don't want to, that feel gets crazy, with the Mets and the Yankee fans, and so I just kind of sat there and was like, whatever. I didn't have no Mets hat on.
But it's good to get a big win like that against one of the best pitchers.
It helps, man. And
that's
it helps
eye for an eye right there. It's a
right
little
now,
bit of flesh you got there, buddy.
Tell you what.
I mean, it wasn't the playoffs or World Series, but
it feels like it. That's the best thing about that
those games feel competitive. They feel like postseason games.
Yeah, they do, man. They do.
Yeah.
So when you gonna come up here, man? Go do a game with me, man.
Something that would have been a good game. I would have liked to have seen a game like that. When I was working security in New York on Friday nights, I would love to see the Yankees and the Red Sox. Well, I hated the Yankees, but
Yeah.
I respect the heck out of them.
Right.
I would love to see that Pedro Martinez on a Friday night at Yankee Stadium just break the hearts of Yankee fans and just kick their butt, man. When I was living there in 2002, it was good stuff, man. I was walking through the building and just watching. I would sit there and watch a game, but I wasn't supposed to. And those were some great matchups, man. Those early 2000 Yankee Red Sox. That was the regular season games were like playoff games.
It's been tough for some of these teams in the last few years, but
yeah,
at least you get to see, like right now, you get to see the young guys coming up for both teams. So I can say that about this season, so.
Yeah, and I need to give the Braves some love. I mean, I was reading something the other day that the Atlanta Braves are favored to win the World Series now.
Again, yeah. I mean, it's so hard.
I got to get into the Atlanta Braves. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. Here's a good topic for next week. The 2024 SEC schedule is going to be crazy.
It is.
For the football, 12-team playoff. Keep that in mind. And
12 teams. Playoff.
Yeah, so everybody have a good night. Again, you have a good Father's Day. You guys out there, y'all have a good Father's Day.
Yo, everybody, happy Father's Day, even for those mothers that are fathers. Just go out there, enjoy the day. Many blessings. Be safe. If you need a ride, call a cab. Don't do nothing.
All right, Bob Barker, have your pet spayed or neutered. Can help control the pet population.
Disco freaks.
See you, man. Thanks, guys.